I'm Captain Aver James, 38 years old, and standing alone at my father's funeral. My dress blues feel stiff, but inside, I'm breaking apart. That's when my older sister, Vanessa, slinks over in her designer black dress. She leans in, her voice a cruel whisper, telling me my ex-fiancé, Darren, left me because I'm too hard, not soft enough like her. And there he is, Darren, signing the guest book with a smug look, while my family fawns over them like they're royalty. They think I'm the one who ran away, the one who failed. They have no idea how wrong they are, and they have no idea that the man arriving in that black armored SUV outside has the power to destroy everything they've built on lies. 4 years ago, I walked into Darren's office and found him with Vanessa. She was wearing my army shirt, the one with my name James stitched over the pocket. I didn't scream or cry. I just took off my engagement ring, placed it on his desk, called them both trash, and walked out. That same night, I left Ohio for good, transferring my post to Washington. The months that followed were a blur of pain. I was broke, lonely, and living in a tiny studio apartment on a diet of instant ramen. I put on my uniform every day, pretending to be fine at work, only to go home and fall apart. Then, one day, a woman named Ruth, one of my superiors, saw past my act. She took me for a drink and quietly slid a therapist's cart across the table. That small act of kindness changed my entire life. My therapist helped me see that I was dry or hard, I was strong. I finally stopped letting selfish people define who I was. I started running, healing, and building a new life from the ground up. I made real friends, people who valued me for me. I earned a promotion, landing a major leadership role. One day, I looked in the mirror and finally saw the truth. I hadn't lost anything. I had rebuilt myself into someone stronger, someone better. And now, I was back. My new position as strategic logistics manager wasn't just a title change. It was a leap into a different world. No more muddy field tents. I was in high-level meetings at the Pentagon's Western Regional Office. That's where I first met Marcus Hamilton. He was sitting at the head of a massive conference table, the CEO of Apex Defense, the region's largest military contractor. He wasn't loud or flashy like Darren. Marcus was the opposite, calm, polished, and quietly confident. His suit was simple but impeccably tailored, whispering wealth instead of shouting it. When it was my turn to present my logistics report, Marcus didn't glance at his phone or stare at my body. He looked me directly in the eyes and listened. He actually took notes with an old-fashioned fountain pen, as if every word I said mattered. When I finished, he didn't offer empty praise. He said, "Captain James, that was the most insightful breakdown I've heard in years. You just saved this project a lot of money." For the first time, a man in power saw my mind, not just my face. 2 weeks later, he asked me to dinner. He didn't take me to some ridiculously expensive restaurant to show me off. Instead, we went to Pike Place Market. He led me to a hidden spot with a pink door, and we found a table overlooking the water. When the waiter came, I tensed up, expecting him to order for me like Darren always did. But Marcus just smiled and said, "Get whatever you want." So I did. I ordered the messy, comforting lasagna. We didn't talk about office gossip or money. We talked about big ideas, music, and our views on the world. Later, when we left, I expected a flashy sports car. Instead, he opened the door to a dark blue Volvo. "I don't need to prove anything," he said simply. "I just want to get home safe." In that moment, I started to fall for him. A few months later, we were driving back from a hike when Marcus casually mentioned a recent contract dispute with a company called Mitchell Logistics. My stomach twisted. "The guy running it is Darren Mitchell," Marcus said, shaking his head. "Flashy type." But his numbers were a complete mess. buried in debt. We flagged it, and the dad dropped his contract. Just like that, the man who had tried to break me was falling apart, and Marcus was the one who had unknowingly triggered his downfall, not out of revenge, but simply by doing the right thing. 2 years later, on Christmas Eve, Marcus proposed. It was quiet, just the two of us by the fire in our home. No cameras, no audience. The ring wasn't a generic diamond. It was a deep blue sapphire surrounded by a halo of smaller diamonds. Engraved inside the band were 2 words, Semper Fidelis. Always faithful. I love all of you, he said, his voice soft. The woman and the soldier. I said yes without a second of doubt. Back at my parents' house after the funeral, the somber gathering had turned into a party hosted by Vanessa. She was laughing too loudly, pouring wine, acting like the grieving daughter was the star of the show. Darren stood beside her, preening like he owned the place. Then Vanessa snapped her fingers at me. Ava, we're out of ice. And can you please change out of that uniform? It's making people uncomfortable. She called my dress blues a costume. Then Darren raised his glass for a toast, shamelessly claiming that he and Vanessa had paid for my father's extensive medical care. The room murmured in approval, praising their generosity. But I knew the truth. I paid for everything. Every single bill. I sent money home every month, took out loans, and ate cheap noodles so my dad could have the care he deserved. They hadn't contributed a single cent. Vanessa then delivered her final insult with a smug smile. She told me I should quit the army and come work for Darren as his personal assistant. Making coffee and scheduling meetings, she said. It's a better fit for a woman your age. Some of my own relatives nodded in agreement as the room filled with condescending laughter. Something inside me went cold and perfectly clear. I set the ice bucket down with a loud thud. Slowly, I pulled off my white gloves. Thank you for the offer, I said, my voice calm and steady. But I can't accept. Darren scoffed. Don't be proud, Aver. It's a charity case. I looked him straight in the eye. I can't take the job, I repeated, because my husband wouldn't be happy about me working for a company that is about to file for bankruptcy. The room went dead silent. Darren's face turned pale. Your husband? Vanessa let out a shrill, disbelieving laugh, and the guests nervously joined in, thinking I was bluffing. They had no idea who was waiting just outside. At that exact moment, a heavy, commanding knock shook the front door. Not a polite rap, but a sound that demanded to be answered. Through the window, in the pouring rain, a black armored SUV sat at the curb, its presence undeniable. Inside that car, the air was a cool 68 degrees, scented with expensive leather and cologne. Marcus Hamilton sat in the back, not smiling. He was calmly adjusting his white gold cufflinks with the focus of a surgeon. On his lap, an iPad displayed the file that would shatter Darren Mitchell's world. 400,000 in federal tax liens, Marcus murmured to himself as he scrolled. 3 months of missed payroll. 2 lawsuits from subcontractors. And, well, he paused, shaking his head. Darren had taken out a second mortgage at a brutal interest rate just to lease a Mercedes and buy Vanessa a fake ring. Marcus hadn't flown across the country for a shouting match. He was here to deliver something far more devastating, the truth. Next to him on the leather seat sat a bouquet of white tulips. Not for forgiveness, but for the burial of Darren's pride. From the driver's seat, Silas, his head of security, spoke. Sir, we're clear. Want me to walk you to the door? No, Marcus said, closing the iPad. I want to look him in the eye myself. Just keep the umbrella ready. He stepped out of the SUV. His hand-stitched Italian shoes hit the wet pavement with a firm, final sound. Silas was instantly by his side, holding a large black umbrella over him. As Marcus walked up the driveway, neighbors stopped to stare. He didn't look like a visitor. He looked like a man who owned the very ground he walked on. He knew I was in that house. He knew they were tearing me down, and he was about to turn all their vicious words to dust. He reached the porch. He didn't knock again. He simply pressed the doorbell. Ding dong. The sound sliced through the laughter inside like a blade. "Who is that now?" Vanessa groaned, annoyed, swirling her wine without getting up. "Probably the delivery guy with the extra case of Pinot Noir." "Ava, get the door. And tell him to take the empty boxes too." She flicked her hand at me like I was hired help. Again. I stood slowly. I didn't rush. I didn't even look at the door right away. I brushed an imaginary speck from my blue uniform, smoothed the fabric over my chest, and felt my heart beat steady. Strong. I wasn't scared anymore. I felt something else. Relief and a strange, buzzing excitement. Like a soldier hearing backup arrive. I looked Darren in the eyes one last time. "It's not the wine delivery, Darren," I said quietly. My voice didn't shake. It cut through the room's noise. "That's the man who is about to teach you what a real provider looks like." "Just get the door," Vanessa snapped. I turned away from them and walked down the hallway. My heels tapped the hardwood click, 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 each step heavier than the last. Not from fear, but from certainty. I reached the oak door and wrapped my fingers around the brass handle. I took one deep breath. The air inside the house felt stale, trapped. Then I opened the door and let the outside in. Gray daylight flooded the hallway, outlining the man standing on the porch. The waiting was over. When Marcus Hamilton stepped inside, the room didn't just go quiet. It emptied, like the air had been pulled out. He brought a heavy calm with him, the kind that makes people straighten their backs without knowing why. He was tall, 6'2", and his charcoal suit seemed to swallow the light. He didn't glance at the guests holding cheap snacks. He didn't even look at Doran at first. He walked straight to me, calm and steady, parting the crowd like they didn't matter. He stopped in front of me and held out the white tulips, clean, simple, elegant. "Sorry I'm late, Captain," he said, voice deep and smooth. He leaned down and kissed my forehead, warm lips against my cold skin. "The flight from DC got delayed on the tarmac. Weather's a mess. Private flight, DC." The room froze. Vanessa stared like her brain couldn't catch up. Her eyes flicked from Marcus's suit to his watch, an expensive one, the kind most people only see online, then back to his face. The truth hit her hard. Her fingers went limp. Crash. Her wine glass slipped, shattering on the carpet. Red spread across beige like a fresh wound. No one moved to clean it. No one could move at all. Darren stood stiff, color draining from his face until he looked sick. He wasn't looking at Marcus like a rival. He was looking at him like a judge. Mr. Hamilton," Darren stammered. "Director Hamilton of Apex Defense." Marcus finally turned his head. He looked at Darren the way someone looks at a bug on the floor, mild interest, no emotion. "Oh," Marcus said lightly. "Mitchell." His tone was calm, but it landed like a hammer. "I didn't expect to see you here. I figured you'd be at your office right now, explaining your $2 million tax lien to the IRS agents auditing your books." The words hung in the air like smoke. People gasped. Someone lowered their drink. Smiles disappeared. Darren swallowed hard, sweat popping on his forehead. That's a misunderstanding. "We're restructuring." Marcus gave a dry laugh with no humor. "Is that what we're calling Chapter 11 these days?" He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "My compliance team flagged you this morning," Marcus continued. "You put this house and your wife's parents' house up as collateral for loans you never planned to repay." He tilted his head, almost curious. "You're not just broke, Mitchell. You're about to be homeless." Vanessa made a choked sound and grabbed Darren's arm, nails digging into his suit. What is he talking about? She demanded, panic rising. You said the business was booming. You said we were buying a boat. She turned to Marcus, eyes wide. How do you know this? Who are you? Marcus didn't answer her right away. He stepped closer to me and slid an arm round my waist. His grip was firm, protective, steadying me like an anchor. I am the man who just won the Department of Defense logistics contract your husband tried to bribe his way into. Marcus said calmly. I'm the reason his company is falling apart. He paused long enough for it to sink in. Then he delivered the line that ended everything. But more importantly, Marcus said, voice lower now, colder, I'm Eva's husband. Silence. We've been married for 2 years. Vanessa's mouth fell open. Her eyes jumped to the ring on my finger, then back to Marcus. The shape of her face changed as the truth slammed into place. Marcus looked straight at her. And I want to thank you, Vanessa, thank you, she whispered, shaking. Yes, Marcus smiled barely. It didn't touch his eyes. Thank you for taking him off her hands 4 years ago. If you hadn't been so greedy, if you hadn't stolen him, I never would have met Ava. He leaned in just slightly, polite and deadly. You took out the trash so I could find the treasure. Darren's legs gave out. He dropped into the nearest chair like someone cut his strings. He looked up at me with wet eyes. Ava, please, he begged. Marcus, Mr. Hamilton, we're family. She's my ex-fiancé. You can't let them take the house. My reputation. Marcus's expression sharpened. Ex-fiancé, he repeated. Voice ice cold. You lost the right to say her name when you betrayed her. He looked around the room at the relatives and guests who'd been laughing along earlier. This party is over, Marcus said, calm but absolute. My wife has had a long day. She's grieving her father, and she deserves peace. Leave. Now, nobody argued. They grabbed coats and purses and rushed out like they'd suddenly remembered an emergency. In minutes, the house went quiet. Only Vanessa remained sobbing near the spilled wine like it was the stain of her whole life. Now it was just 4 of us in the wreckage, Marcus, me, and the 2 people who tried to crush me. A phone buzzed hard on the coffee table. Darren's phone. The screen lit up with an 800 number dot again. Darren stared at it, hands shaking, and didn't pick up. You should answer that, Marcus said casually, leaning against the mantel. That's the 3rd call in 10 minutes. Creditors don't quit. I can't, Darren whispered. Then I will. Marcus tapped the speaker icon before Darren could stop him. A sharp, professional woman's voice filled the room. Mr. Mitchell, this is Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. We've attempted to reach you by mail and phone. This is your final notice regarding the property at 42 Elm Street. Since we have not received the past due balance of $14,000, foreclosure proceedings will begin tomorrow morning. You have 30 days to vacate the premises. Vanessa went pale so fast she looked like she might fall. Foreclosure, she screamed, whipping toward Darren. You told me the mortgage was paid. You said the business was having its best quarter. Darren stared at the floor, his eyes fixed on his expensive shoes that suddenly looked less like wealth and more like crushing debt. I had to move money around, he mumbled, his voice barely a whisper, to keep up appearances. The lease, your clothes, the parties. It costs money, Vanessa, so you lied to me, she shrieked, her voice cracking. She snatched a pillow from the couch and hurled it at him. We're homeless. You made me homeless. Her carefully crafted mask of the perfect life was shattering in real time, right before my eyes. Then, her frantic gaze landed on my hand, specifically on my ring. The deep blue stone seemed to glow under the dim light, heavy with a quiet, undeniable value. Her eyes darted down to the massive rock on her own finger, the one she had been obnoxiously showing off all day long. But the ring, she stammered, twisting it nervously. Darren said it was an investment. He said it was worth $50,000. We can sell it. We can pay the bank. Marcus, my husband, let out a short, dry chuckle. He stepped closer, glancing at her hand. He didn't even need to touch it. Vanessa, he said, and his voice was filled with a devastating, quiet pity. That isn't a diamond. He tilted his head, his eyes lifting to meet hers, delivering the final blow. It's moissanite. Good quality, sure, but it's synthetic. He paused for a beat, letting the reality sink in. You know you can buy that exact ring on Amazon for like $200. Maybe $300 if you pay for overnight shipping. He then pointed at my hand. My wife's ring, he continued, his tone calm but firm. That one is a real cashmere sapphire, custom set by Harry Winston. It's insured for more than this whole house is worth. So please stop comparing yourself to her. You lost that contest a long time ago. Vanessa froze, her face slack as if she'd been slapped. Her legs seemed to give out from under her, and she sank to the floor, completely shaken. She wasn't crying because the man she loved had lied to her. No, she was crying because she had bet on the wrong man. She'd thrown away her relationship with me, her own sister, for someone she thought was a jackpot, only to discover he was a total fraud. With a raw, guttural scream, Vanessa ripped the ring off her finger and threw it as hard as she could. It sailed across the room, hit Darren right on the forehead with a dull thud, and then rolled under the couch like the worthless piece of glass it was, disappearing into the dust. I hate you, she sobbed hysterically. You fake. You ruined my life. But Darren didn't even look at her. His eyes found me instead. My stomach twisted into a tight, sickening knot. Then he did something I never thought I'd see. He dropped to his knees. He actually crawled toward me on the expensive carpet, his hands pressed together as if in prayer. Aver, he cried, tears and snot streaming down his face. Aver, please. You have to talk to him. You know me. We grew up together. Just ask Marcus to give me something. A subcontract. Consulting work, anything. I just need a way out. He reached for my leg, as if to grab onto me, and I stepped back so fast I nearly tripped. Don't, I said, my voice flat and cold. Please, Aver, he wailed, his desperation making him pathetic. Do it for Mom and Dad. What would they think if they saw me like this? They loved me like a son. They wouldn't want me on the street. A wave of pure sickness rolled through me. He really dared to bring up my parents. The same parents whose mounting medical bills he had completely ignored. The same parents whose funeral he had treated like a networking event just a few hours ago. Don't you dare say their name, I snapped, pointing a trembling finger at him. You stood by their casket today and lied through your teeth about paying for their care. You mocked my military rank. You tried to humiliate me by offering me a job as your secretary. And now you want me to save you? I looked down at him, this man I once thought I would spend my life with. He looked so small, so weak and utterly pathetic. No, Darren, I said, my voice ringing with finality. I won't save you. You're a grown man. You built your entire life out of lies. Now you can live with the consequences. It's time you clean up your own mess. A warm, solid hand settled on the small of my back. It was Marcus, calm, grounding. Let's go, Aver, he said quietly. The air in here is turning poisonous. We walked towards the front door, leaving the chaos behind us. I could hear them starting up again, Vanessa yelling about her ruined credit score, Doreen crying and blaming her, to drowning people trying to climb on top of each other for one last gasp of air. Outside, the rain had stopped. The Ohio night was cold and sharp, but the air felt clean. It felt free. I took a deep breath, filling my lungs with it, and walked towards the waiting Cadillac. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. That old life, the life where I stayed quiet, where I accepted whatever crumbs they threw my way, where I let them make me feel small that life had just ended in their living room. In the car, for the first time in 4 years, the tight, painful knot that had lived in my chest finally let go. I didn't even have to fight. I just had to walk away. The flight back to Seattle was quiet. The steady hum of the engines wrapped around us like a blanket, pushing the memory of Ohio further and further away. Marcus slept in the seat beside me, his hand resting over mine as if to guard it even in his sleep. In my lap was the only thing I had taken from my parents' house, my father's old leather journal. I'd found it hidden in his desk drawer, buried under a mountain of medical bills that I had paid, every single one. My hands trembled as I opened it to the last entry, written just 3 weeks before he passed away. His handwriting was unsteady, a physical sign of his body fading, but his thoughts were as clear as day. I read the words through a fresh wave of tears. I know Ava is suffering out there. She doesn't say it, but I hear it in her voice. My little girl is strong, but even steel hurts when it's shaped in fire. Vanessa wants attention. She wants to be seen. But Ava chose honor. She wants to serve. I am so proud of my soldier. I only hope she finds a man worthy of her brave heart. A sob broke free from my chest, loud enough to wake Marcus. He didn't ask any questions. He just saw the journal, saw the tears streaming down my face, and pulled me into his arms. I cried into the soft fabric of his shirt, letting go of the last sharp piece of pain I'd been carrying for so long. I wasn't invisible. My dad saw me. He always had. I wasn't the black sheep of the family. I was the one he trusted. 2 weeks later, I was in my kitchen making coffee when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Vanessa. There was no punctuation, no apology, just pure, unadulterated panic. Ava, you have to help me. Duran took the car and left me with all the debt. The bank is coming Monday. I have nowhere to go. You're rich now. Send me 10,000 please. We are sisters. Family helps family. I stared at the words on the screen. Family helps family. The absolute nerve of it almost made me laugh out loud. This was the same woman who had called me unlovable, who had mocked my uniform, who had schemed to make me a servant in my own life. And now that her luxury ship was sinking, she expected me to toss her a lifeboat made of cash. I looked out the kitchen window at the beautiful Seattle morning, and a sense of calm washed over me. Her storm was not my storm. Not anymore. Thanks for watching. Seattle drizzle, gray sky. Marcus was in the backyard, kneeling in the dirt, planting bulbs we bought earlier. I looked back at my phone. 4 years ago, I would have sent the money. I would have begged for love. But that version of me was gone. I didn't reply. I didn't argue. I tapped the icon, scrolled down, and hit block. The message vanished. The connection was cut. Not out of cruelty, out of survival. I wasn't responsible for saving people who tried to drown me. I set my phone down and walked outside. The air smelled like wet soil and pine pure Pacific Northwest. I knelt beside Marcus in the garden bed, not caring that the damp dirt ruined my sweatpants. Everything okay, Captain? He asked, wiping dirt off his cheek. I looked at the neat row of bulbs. In spring, they bloom. White tulips. Strong. Clean. New. Forgiveness not for them, but for myself. For staying too long. For believing I wasn't enough. I'm okay, I said. Then smiled. Actually, I'm better than okay. I'm home. We worked in silence, hands cold and muddy, hearts full. Real happiness wasn't champagne or fake applause. It was quiet mornings, honest love, and peace that didn't cost your soul. Later, I stood in front of the mirror in my uniform. The blue fabric was crisp. The buttons shined. I ran my fingers over my ribbons, each one a memory I survived. Then I touched the faint scar under my chin. Darren called it a flaw. Marcus called it courage. Today, I just called it me. I picked up my lipstick, deep burgundy doubled. Unapologetic. I put it on slowly. This was the color of a woman who walked through hell and came out holding fire. I straightened my collar, squared my shoulders. I had a unit to lead, a job to do, a life to live. Life is a battlefield. We all get hit. We all get betrayed. We all have nights where we wonder if we'll ever feel warm again. But I looked at my reflection and finally understood the truth. My name is Aver. I was a victim. Then I was a survivor. Now I am a victor. And if you're standing in your own dark valley right now, listen, don't drop your weapon. Don't let anyone else define you. The night can be long, but dawn always comes. The most expensive lesson I ever paid for wasn't money. It was identity. For years, I let Vanessa and Darren hold the pen to my story. They called me cold, broken, unlovable, and I believed them. But here's the truth. Your worth doesn't shrink just because someone can see it. If someone at a yard sale thinks a diamond is glass, that doesn't change what the diamond is. So protect your value. And when the world tries to discount, you have the courage to raise the price.